right, we are on State Test Review 5, Mixed Review. So this is anything and everything that we've learned this year. Let's look at number 1. Which expression is equivalent to n plus n minus 0.18n? Okay, so if you notice, every single thing has an n on it, which means they are like terms. That means we can go ahead and add them up with no problems whatsoever. Okay, important to remember, each of those n's is really a 1n. So this is a 1n plus 1n minus 0.18n. And now I'm going to go ahead and add 1 plus 1 minus 0.18. It gives me 1.82n. Number 2. Nick is making bread dough. The recipe calls for 3/4 of a cup of flour and 1 1/8 teaspoons of salt. Nick wants to make the recipe using 1 cup of flour. To maintain the ratio, how much salt is required when 1 cup of flour is used? All right, so this is kind of like from Review 4, our scale factor, right? So we know that 3/4 of a cup of flour is 1 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt, and we want 1 cup of flour. Okay, so on this one, I need to see what would I multiply by to turn this 3/4 into a 1. And hopefully you remember a little thing called the multiplicative inverse. Okay, and what that does is when I multiply it, I get 1. So if I multiply 3/4 by 4/3, the reciprocal, that would give me 1 cup of flour. So I'm just going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to multiply by 4/3. All right, so I have 1 1/8 times 4/3, and I get 1.5 teaspoons of salt, which is 1.5. All right, number 3, which expression is equivalent? Okay, so we just need to basically simplify this. First thing I want to do is distribute the negative 1/3. All right, and I don't need my calculator for this because I know that multiplying by 1/3 is the same as dividing by 3. So if I have negative 1/3 times 6, that's really 6 divided by 3, negative 2x. Same thing here, 15 divided by 3 is 5, so negative 5, and then the minus 3. All right, last thing I need to do is combine like terms. Those would be these two because they are constants, and that gives me negative 8. Okay, number 4, Josh has a rewards card for a movie theater. He receives 15 points for becoming a rewards card holder. So that's a one-time gig, I think. One time that he gets those 15 points for becoming a member. He earns 3.5 points for each visits. Okay, so this one is every time that he visits, each visits. That's important. He needs at least 55 points to earn a free movie ticket. At least 55 means 55 or more. Okay, above 55. All right, so we're going to write an inequality. So I know that my 15 should really be alone because I only get those 15 points, or Josh only gets those 15 points once. And then the 3.5, that's where I want my x because it happens each visit. All right, so let's look at our choices. Which choices have the 15 once and the 3.5 with the x? That would be choice A and choice C. So I'm going to cross off B and D. All right, the last thing is that you need at least 55 points to earn a free movie ticket. So I need my points to be above 55. So 55 has to be basically the smallest amount of points I could have. I want it on the small side of the inequality, and that would be choice C. Okay, number 5. At a store, a hat has a regular price of X dollars. During a sale, the price of the hat is discounted by 20%. The expression 0.8x describes the discounted price in dollars of the hat, which expression also describes the discounted price in dollars of the hat. Okay, so first let's talk about where they're getting this 0.8. 20% discount. If it is a discount, the 20% needs to come off of the 100. That gives me 80%, okay? That's where they're getting this. And remember, to get the 80, what did we do? 100 minus 20, right? So let's look at these choices here. Which one of them has 100%? Guess what? 100% is really 1 minus 20%, which is really 0.2. And everything has to have the X on it because that's what we're dealing with is this price of this hat. So that would be choice D. All right, number 6. Howard has a scale model of the Statue of Liberty. The scale model is 15 inches tall. The scale of the model to the actual statue is 1 inch to 6.2 meters. Which equation can Howard use to determine X, the height in meters of the Statue of Liberty? All right, so we're going to set up a proportion here. Okay, so here we have our scale factor, 1 inch to 6.2 meters. I'm going to go ahead and put that on my proportion. And I kind of want to remember here that the 1 inch, that's the statue, right? The 6.2 meters is the actual Statue of Liberty. I guess when I said statue, that wasn't very clear. I should have put the scale model. It's like the little mini statue. Small model. Okay. So now it says the model is 15 inches tall. Where should that go? On the top, because that's where the model goes. And X is the actual height of the Statue of Liberty. All right, we're going to cross multiply unless you guys see the answer here. Oh, I see it. Right there. We don't have to cross multiply. It's done. All right, number 7. The rectangular floor of a classroom is 36 feet in length and 32 feet in width. A scale drawing of the floor has a length of 9 inches. What is the area in square inches of the floor in the scale drawing? Show your work. All right, let's draw a picture. Okay, so we have this first one. It is 36 by 32. We have a smaller one, and it says the length is 9. We do not know the width, but we can figure it out. How are we going from 36 to 9? We are dividing. I cannot do dots on this. It's very frustrating. Dividing. I'm sure you can hear me trying to put the dots on there. By 4. All right, I'm just going to write divide by 4. So if we divide the 32 by 4, 32 divided by 4 would be 8. Okay, so now let's answer the question. What is the area of the smaller one? Length times width. 9 times 8, 72 square inches. Okay, number 8. Jennifer has 84.5 yards of fabric to make curtains. She makes 6 identical curtains and has 19.7 yards of fabric remaining. How many yards of fabric does Jennifer use per curtain? Show your work. Okay, so she's making 6 identical curtains. That's 6x. She has 19.7 yards of fabric left over. This totals up to 84.5. And I know all of you are thinking, can't we just minus the 19.7 then divide by 6? But that's exactly what we're going to do right now from this equation, right? So we're going to minus the 19.7. $64.8, and we're going to divide by 6. Did you have to set up an equation? No. Okay, so X equals 10.8 yards per curtain.